What's happening, everybody? Trey here, joined by my dad, Sean, and today reactions to the classics. We are up to the year 2007 in our top 10 albums by year album draft. You want to check out any of the other videos in the series, we got top 10 album drafts every year going back to 1965, so be sure to check that out and hit that big thumbs up and subscribe button if you like what you see here today. It helps us out.
And if you wonder how this works, if this is your first time joining us, today I get first pick, Trey gets 2 and 3, I get 4 and 5, so on until we've got the 10 albums next year in 2008. Trey will get the first pick. Some years you want the first pick, some years you'd rather have the second and third. I'm glad I got the first pick. This year, we need your help. We need to know who you think won this battle, and we need to know what your top 5 albums are, if you have a top 5 album from 2007. So Trey, I'm going to kick this thing off with a guy that I'll tell you what, you can like him, you can hate him. I know a lot of people hate him, but I'll tell you what, this man is uber talented, whether you like it or not. For the
love it, man.
third time in the past 4 years, this man's perfect 3 for 3 on his albums. Number one, Kanye West, Graduation.
Let's go, man. Let's go.
I know you're loving this. This is the second time I've taken him number one. You had the first pick. You took him Graduation. Third studio album, quite a bit different than his previous 2 albums. And there's some things about this. Sold almost 1 million copies in the first week. I mean, those days are long gone.
Yeah, famously was going against 50 Cent's record. What would be number one?
And it just helped him. It just helped them both. But he got away from the skits. More of a straight up album. 51 minutes long. He did actually shoot some skits, but they didn't make it. He took them out. Grammy for Best Rap Album, third time he'd won that. Stronger, I Wonder, and Homecoming with Chris Martin are my standouts, but they're all kind of standouts. But the reason why his sound changes, the previous year he had toured with U2, which I found interesting. You would not see those two. And he saw the way that Bono and where U2, some of those anthemic things, got the stadiums going. And he's like, I don't have any stadium. So this man Kanye just transfers the way he does things, just midstream, and comes up with this. And the craft of Kanye, right? He put these together, and then he'd send them out to radio stations. He even put some of them on iTunes and said, tell me what you think. And you go back and just move it and move it around and move it around and redo it. The Lab of Kanye. This album is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Critical acclaim is high, but not nearly as high as the first 2 albums, because I think people didn't know what to think of the pivot.
Yeah, where he changed, very, probably Kanye's biggest pop rap album, so to speak.
So good.
But dude, there's so many songs that are catchy. I think this is a record that's underrated when talking about Kanye's discography and catalog. Even though it has so many great big hits, man. Everything I Am, one of my favorite Kanye songs.
That might be my favorite lyrically Kanye song.
Up here, and then you have Champion, you have the Who's Who. I even like Barry Bonds with Lil Wayne, which I know that
was an interesting.
The only weak one on here was maybe Drunken Hot Girls. But
I agree.
But besides that, man, like you said, Dad, it's just a very fun record.
And I think, it's not thought of well because the critics did slam it. Now, retrospectively, the critics go back and like it. You look at a lot of major artists, when they switch a little bit, they get panned, and then it turns back. All right, Trey, what do you got as your pick?
Well, going with one of my favorite records of this entire decade right here, it's going to be Radiohead's possibly best record, In Rainbows, right here. I know that's up for debate. I flip a coin between this one and OK Computer as my favorite.
Long shot into the bins while we're out.
Their 7th record right here. This has a lot of interesting things, not only musically, where it's a very concise album, 10 tracks, all of them pretty darn strong in my estimation. But Radiohead at the forefront kind of things as they released this record as a pay-as-you-want model, which was very cutting edge, of course, at the time, a bit controversial at the time, and it ended up working out.
They made more money than they would have if they would have released it the other way.
Definitely, man. And I mean, some of the Radiohead's best musical moments are on this record too, and they kind of got away from some of the electronic type of sounds that they were exploring earlier in this decade, and look to kind of blend that with their traditional kind of rock type sound. And man, it's just a match made in heaven right here. All I Need, one of my favorite tracks right here.
So freaking good, dude.
Weird Fishes is great, the way it crescendos up, man. Philip Selway shines on that song in particular. Body Snatchers and those guitar effects are quite hypnotic as well. Videotape, the closer, I know you love that one, Dad.
I love that song.
Radiohead so good at closing off records on a strong note. And then maybe my favorite Radiohead song, Reckoner, in here with one of Tom York's best vocal performances when he hits that falsetto, man. Very emotional tune. So Radiohead, my first pick right here.
And we got a review of this up if you want to know more, because there's a lot of interesting stuff on this album. You did a really good job of summarizing that. And Trey, that would have been my number 2 pick, so that was a good pick.
And then my second record right here, a debut from Bon Iver, For Emma Forever Ago. That I've heard a lot about this record. I just never got around to listening to it. So I kind of went in with expectations a bit high, and man, I'll tell you what, this album definitely delivered. Justin Vernon, who is the man behind Bon Iver, right? He traveled to his father's cabin, out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, wow.
He was fed up with life in his mid-20s, and he started writing songs based on just vocalist melodies that he was coming up with. And then they would be featured on the record after encouragement from his friends and family. They heard the stuff that he kind of cut and out in the cabin in the woods right there, and they were like, dude, you gotta release this. Very has that folk inspiration, very lush arrangements, which I quite enjoy, and that complements the emotional lyrics that are on this, and that falsetto voice of Justin Vernon right here, man. Flume, For Emma, and then one of my favorite tracks of the entire year, Skinny Love, are highlights for me. Pretty concise record too, Dad. It's in the mid-30s on the runtime. I would definitely recommend this for any of the fans out there of folk or just strong songwriting all around.
I got 2 things on this. One, it would have went right outside of my top 5. I listened to it. I really liked it. And 2, you're in your mid-20s. Why don't you get discussion with the wife? Go out to a cabin.
That's what I'm going to say.
Throw it down for us, man. Let's go. All right, my second pick. Very happy that I got this one. The National Boxer.
Great album.
I won't ruin the drafts for everybody. A couple years ago, Alligator did appear on my list. 4th studio album. Half of these were recorded at their home, so we're just going old school. And on that note, they were at the producer's home, who was right down the street from Sufjan Stevens. So he just called up Sufjan and said, come on over. And so he's on a couple tracks, and that's how, because they were just laying it down in the house. Pace Magazine's Record of the Year. I like Fake Empire, Mistaken for Strangers, Apartment Story are all standouts. Always love Matt Berenger's vocals. Very unique. You know it's the National as soon as it comes on, but an incredibly consistent album.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to discovering more of their catalog as we go through these drafts, because Alligator and Boxer right here, man, 2 great albums for all the people who want to say rock's dead. And,
that's what I was thinking too. Great rock albums. My third pick, these guys appeared on a previous list again. I'm just ruining all this for you guys. We got Blackfield. They thought a lot about their title. We got Blackfield 2. It's a collaborative music project by the English musician and founder of Porcupine Tree, Stephen Wilson, and Israeli rock singer Aviv Geffen. Heavy radio influence on this one.
Radiohead.
A lot of melancholy strings. Whole album is just a vibe. Almost as good as the first album. I almost wanted to listen to them back to back. It might be as good, but it's right there. Very unique stuff, man. If you haven't listened to Blackfield, very much enjoy it.
Well, I still got to get around to the first
I don't know
record,
how you're going to, because we're going year by year. There's no time.
Get to both those. Well, my third choice here is from a band who I honestly think is a bit overrated, but
so do I.
was giving them another shot, and I'm actually glad I did. This is by far their best work, in my opinion. We have Strawberry Jam by Animal Collective, their 7th record, first album to chart, actually. Went to 72. Like so many albums of this time, if you've been keeping up with the draft series, right, we always mention, this got leaked online.
Which is one of the reasons why Radiohead released theirs like they did.
So that's a good point. So this also leaked online at this time. David Portner, member of the group, noted that, quote, music should be more than just something to stomp to. It should be more interactive. For us, it's not always just about writing a good song. We want to play with your ears in terms of colors and space and sound. I just quoted that because I think that describes this record very, very well, where certain Animal Collective tracks just don't really resonate with me as, full-on songs. Maybe there's some good ideas in there that then just kind of fade away. This album doesn't really have that for me, even though a lot of the songs are in that 6+ minute range. They keep your attention, very psychedelic at a lot of different points as well, experimental, but it doesn't venture too far one way or the other in those, in my opinion. And so I think that you can appreciate it just off one listen, yet there's a lot more there to dig deeper into on future listens as well. So my favorites are Peacebone and Fireworks.
Well, you know, Trey, I felt like you had the Animal Collective vote, and then you killed it right away saying anything there. I'm going to give it back to you and saying that I didn't listen to this album, guys. And here's the thing, though, before you flame me for it, if you're Animal Collective, I listened to 36 albums for this year. 36 on top of what I already knew. I just wasn't ever resonating for Animal Collective, so I set it to the side. You picked me up on it. That's good. What do you got next?
And with my next pick, going with another of the most acclaimed groups kind of of this decade, right? We have LCD Soundsystem's second record, Sound of Silver here. We had James Murphy, who was uncomfortable recording his own vocals on this, calling the experience, quote, horrifying. He covered the entire studio in silver fabric and tinfoil, and even took a piece of that fabric with him when they recorded their next record. So just kind of a little Easter egg for you there. This dad... it's, again, kind of a tough one to pin just on one type of genre, right? You got a blend of dance with some rock, punk, and, you know, just your indie type of sounds on here. It keeps your attention, I think, because of that quite well. About an hour long in its runtime, but that allows the band to really show off how many of these different styles that they can do well. All My Friends is definitely a highlight. Pitchfork had it as the number 2 song of the decade, actually. So maybe check that song out, and if you like it, go from there. I also like Someone Great and then Us Be Them. Pretty infectious melodies on this thing that make you want to get up and go with the groove. And again, you know, I've heard a lot of great things about LCD Soundsystem, so looking forward to discovering the rest of their catalog as well.
Well, my fourth pick, and they've been here before for me, I got Interpol, Our Love to Admire, third album. Its elaborate musical arrangement polarized some critics. Now, that is an understatement, boys and girls. I'll tell you what, the critics did not like this. It was such a departure from the relatively simple sound they've been known for. Paul Banks, the leader of the band, said it was his least favorite album. He had just got sober, and this was their first major record release from a label. He said the pressure was too much. He said he just couldn't. Mammoth and the Heinrich Maneuver are standouts. I had to listen to this album a couple times to get it. The first time through, I was like, yeah, maybe the critics are right. And then I listened to it again, and I'm like, no, it was better than I thought it was on first listen. And then my last pick, it actually would have been what your last pick was. It was slightly ahead of this album for me, and I had the pick, but I decided to go with this because it was so much different. Some I wouldn't think that I would like, but Josh Ritter, The Historical Conquest of Josh Ritter. In 2006, Trey, he was named one of the 100 greatest living songwriters by Pace Magazine. His fifth album, he recorded in a Maine farmhouse, 14 songs, 42 minutes of songwriting greatness. Often he's compared to Dylan and Springsteen. I might let you know why I like him, but very unique. It wasn't like a copycat. Just a good album, well written.
Well, I gotta check it out, man.
Sparse but nice. But what do you got last year?
Yeah, my last pick, man, going of Montreal. Hissing Fauna, Are You the Destroyer? Their 8th record
Great
here.
album.
The lead man, Kevin Barnes, described the record as a concept album detailing their transformation from Kevin Barnes into Georgie Fruit, who exists as his alter ego, which they assume for the final half of the record. He credits being prescribed antidepressants with the making of the record, saying, quote, "The real issue was a chemical thing. So when I finally got on medication, that balanced it out, so that helped me have a better perspective on things, helped my relationship with my wife, and helped me get through the album." This has some gorgeous psychedelic atmospheres on here, but also with some pop melodies intermixed, right, to make it easy on the ear. A lot of catchy tunes on here. The Groenlandic edit, and then there's an epic 12-minute song at the midway point through the album, which is kind of its magnum opus. The Past is a grotesque animal. That's definitely worth going out of your way to check out. And again, my first of Montreal record, even though it's their 8th. So I gotta go and catch up on their discography as well.
Yeah, it was my first one as well. I mean, this was number 2 on my list for the longest time as I was working my way through this year. It's very good. I got a lot of honorable mentions because I listened to a lot of albums. Dinosaur Jr. back with a vengeance with Beyond. Panda Bear,
great album.
Person Pitch. Mavis Staples, all these years later, will never turn back. Oh, Mavis has a voice. A group that I really like, although I've never listened to a full album, there's the Gaslight Anthem, their debut, Sink or Swim. Really, really well done, man. My man Bruce Springsteen, Magic. He redeemed himself. His last two albums, I'm like, I don't know. Thrice, The Alchemy Index.
I like that shout.
Volumes 1 and 2, Fire and Water. Antimatter, Leaving Eden. It's just a great album. This guy's not Scott Stapp from Creed, even though he sounds like it. Well done. Arctic Monkeys, favorite worst nightmare. Critics did not love this. It was still good. It just wasn't anything like the previous year's offering. Arcade Fire, Neon Bible.
Good record right there.
Good record, not nearly on the level of Funeral or The Suburbs for me. Iron and Wine, The Shepherd's Dog. Nick Lowe, At My Age, a surprising one for me. Alter Bridge.
Let's go, man.
Blackbird, their second album, so well done. Porcupine Tree. Stephen Wilson was here earlier with Blackfield. Now he's here with Porcupine Tree. Ooh. Fear of a Blank Planet. The New Pornographers, Challengers, they've been on my list a few times. Spoon, Gaga, Gaga, Ga. And the White Stripes, Achy Thump. Trey, I'm sure you had some of those too. I just took all that because I'm the one that pasted all that on there because they were on mine. So I didn't leave you with much.
I respect it, man. I like it. I have just a few more to add. Burial's record, Untrue. Fantastic electronic record right there. That's buried up. PJ Harvey, White Chalk. I love me some PJ Harvey. Again, this is about 30 minutes long. Short, sweet, to the point, and shows that throughout the decade she's still able to deliver.
Yes.
And then, though it doesn't really count as an official release, Daft Punk's live record, Alive 2007, is definitely worth
checking. You got to review that up.
Yeah, checking out as well. All in all, that's still some really iconic records at the top by some big name artists, and I think we also both included some some great records from a wide variety of genres here as well.
I think the depth of this year, 2006 was awesome as well, right? I think the depth of 2007 is what really helps it out. There's not too many high highs for me, but the depth, it's very, very solid. I was quite surprised and pleasantly surprised.
No, definitely. And of course, let us know who you think won the battle and your favorites from 2007. We are almost done with this decade, man. Next week, we'll be up with the year 2008. Looking forward to going into that one.
Definitely.
And until next time, thanks for watching, y'all. Happy listening, and we will see you.